This is Linda Cisco, 260138.
Good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Joseph Shimatero on behalf of plaintiff Hidden Oaks.
Ms. Cisco, your name?
Good morning, Your Honor. Lisa Cisco, defendant.
I gotta ask you something. Ms. Cisco, did you bother calling the court and telling them a clerk on the 1st or to me on the 27th of January that your father had this medical issue that requires 24 hours oxygen and you couldn't appear on the 2nd?
No, the 2nd, it was a misunderstanding.
What do you mean?
I got the date wrong.
Well, what did you get? What date did you have in your calendar?
I had, it said you would see me the 1 week from today. So I thought the date was Tuesday. So I apologize. It was just a misunderstanding for the return date.
Did you show up here on, what would that have been, the 3rd? Did you show up at court and say, hey, I'm here, where's the judge? I want to have my case called with Hidden Oaks?
No, actually, I realized on the 2nd, but I realized it while the case was going on. So I filed the motions the following day.
What do you mean you realized it when the case was going on? Did you call the court? Were you zooming in? What do you mean?
My mom was zooming in and let me know that I missed
She was zooming in just to watch court?
Yeah, to watch my case.
Well, but why, if you told her it was the 2nd, why did you think you didn't, which caused her to zoom in, why did you think you didn't have to be here till a couple of days later?
I thought that I had to be there on a Tuesday. It was just a complete misunderstanding.
Did you call the court then?
Yes, I did. I called immediately.
Did you speak to somebody in the civil department?
Yes, I did.
Who did you speak to?
I don't know her name. I'm sorry.
Did anybody get a phone call, Jennifer, on the 2nd of February from Ms. Cisco?
I don't see any notes, but if she did call, it would have more than likely was after her case had been called in front of you.
Was it after the case was called, ma'am?
Yes, it was.
Lack of written notice of any rent increase. I can't recall anything being raised about that. Mr. Chimatero, can you enlighten me?
So, Judge, Ms. Cisco's been there for several years. She had her original lease, I believe, was at a $900 or $950 a month rental rate. I've got the owner and manager of the property on the Zoom if you want to swear him in, and he can give you exacts on that. But she had increases over the years. I've got a ledger here from management that indicates that her rent was increased back in 2024 to $1,350. Now, she acknowledges that she had communication verbally, but nothing in writing. And she had, in fact, according to this ledger, made several payments at the $1,350 mark. But at some point last year, she started going back to the previous amount of $1,000 a month and reduced her rent. So the arrearage and the judgment that's there is because of like a $350 difference between what her rent was supposed to be and what she was paying over a long period of time. So in speaking with her, her position has been that she doesn't owe the increase because it wasn't communicated to her in writing. And, I've got my client here to indicate that he sent her statements over, quarterly over the last few months or over the last year as to what her balance was, what her arrearage was. And, truthfully, he was working with her, and she had been a tenant for several years there. But it's gotten to a point now where she's unwilling to pay the increase, and she's a month-to-month tenant, Judge. There's no long-term lease in place right now, and so my client is just at a point where he wants her evicted.
Well, but if she pays the back due rent,
Well, yeah, it's a non-payment of rent. So if I've communicated that to her, and she said she's unwilling to do that, and so that's where we're at.
well, okay. Is this your client? Is he a representative from Hidden Oaks here, Jimmy G?
That's correct. Yes, Jim George.
Okay, Mr. George, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony you will give in these proceedings will be the whole true self you got.
Yes, sir.
What is your position with Hidden Oaks LLC?
I'm a managing member.
All right. When did her rent increase to $1,350 per month?
I do apologize. Don't have the exact date in front of me. I am on vacation right now when I was notified about this, but I believe it was in 2024. And my attorney, I believe, has the ledger in there when the tenant, Miss Cisco, was paying the increase. I believe she paid 4 or 5 months the increase and then stopped and went back. So
Why did you stop paying the $1,350, Ms. Cisco?
I didn't actually stop paying it. Some payments were made for different amounts. And
He's telling me, I think, that you paid $1,350 from the time that he increased the rent for a period of 4 months. And then his
No.
lawyer, is that
No.
not true?
no, that is not true.
Do you have the ledger, Mr. Chimatero?
I do, Judge. The ledger here indicates that the first increase was April 1st of 2024. And on April 8th of 2024, there's a payment for $1,350. On May 1st, 2024, again, a $1,350 charge. On May 15th, a payment of
Hang on a
$1,000.
second. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
You can't wait a couple minutes. Look, I came back. I said I'd be back at 5 after 1. I was out here waiting I walked in the door. My court officer said there's perfect timing. I don't know what was taking so long. And everybody else's problems become my problem. I'm going to ask you to stay until I can get through those. I mean, I haven't asked you to stay on an afternoon ever, I don't think. Maybe if I have, you can remind me when.
Historically, Judge, if that's the case, we anticipate that to be effective. There's a bench trial set.
Do you have another court office?
Dispatched.
Do you have another court case?
We could.
Do you have another court case?
No, I have an obligation that I would have made different provisions for had I known I would be here going on to a call, Judge.
I don't control how fast you guys work, is the problem. If I did, I would have been done by 11 o'clock today. Mr. Chimatero, my apologies.
No problem.
You said on 8, you started to say her first payment was going to be $1,350 on April 1, and on April 8th, she paid how much?
On April 8th, she paid $1,350. On May 15th, 2024, she paid $1,350. On June 17th, 2024, $1,350. July 15th, 2024, $1,350. And then September 2024, a $1,350 payment. And then there was
So there she was behind a month, starting with April 1, right? She didn't pay anything in August.
August, there's 2 payments, Judge. She paid $1,350 in August too. There was a $1,000 payment, and then 2 weeks later, a $350 payment.
Now, why isn't that acquiescence, Ms. Cisco? It's not like you can say to me, I just decided out of the goodness of my heart to start paying more money. What was the rent before it was $1,350?
$950.
Well, did you just decide out of the goodness of your heart to start paying $1,350 because you thought you were paying too little to the landlord?
No.
Well, then what's the problem? You acquiesced in the arrangement, didn't you? When you started paying $13.50, you told me you didn't pay it for 4 or 5 months. He just reeled off 4 months when you made the total payment of $13.50 and another month where you paid $13.50 total. Right?
Yeah. I was
What about in
paying,
October, Mr. Chimatero? How much you pay in October?
So then in October of 2024, she made one payment of $1,000. But then there was an a July of 2025 where she made a $13.50 payment. All the other
Look.
months then were $1,000.
I cannot find, ma'am, that there's a meritorious defense here. I mean, you did not do anything other than agree to pay the $13.50, or you wouldn't have paid the $13.50.
well,
So
I was paying,
I don't know if there's a meritorious defense when you acquiesce to it. And I can't find good cause either because you should have been here and you weren't. And the fact that your mother was on there watching should tell you that you told her the court date was on the 2nd. I mean, otherwise, she didn't just get on here and start watching Zoom TV at 33rd District Court. I can't do anything for you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna deny the motion to set aside default judgment. And I'm going to,
can we pause the eviction just because I have my father here who's disabled?
should have
until I
thought
can find
about
a
this
place
a
to live?
long time ago. You know, now I got to tell you something. I'm not unsympathetic about your father. I'm very sympathetic about your father. But these guys, am I supposed to say, hey, just let him stay? You should have thought about this. I'm sorry. Did you submit your application for a writ yet, Mr. Chimatero?
No, Your Honor. Shortly after, I'm looking at the judgment. I think February 12th is the date for the writ, but we had this motion filed, or she had this motion filed, so we didn't apply for it until after this hearing.
Defendant's motion to set aside default judgment denied. Defendant's motion to stay eviction denied.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hang on a second. I'm going to ask you to not submit a writ, the application for a writ, until Monday. Can you live with that?
Until when, Judge?
Until Monday. Can you live with that?
Yeah, that's no problem, Judge.
So do you mind preparing a separate order here that says motion to set aside default judgment denied, defendant's motion to stay eviction of writ denied. However, court ordered plaintiff's counsel not to submit application for writ until Monday, February the 23rd. So you got to be out this weekend, ma'am.
I have to be out of here this weekend
Absolutely.
with a disabled senior citizen.
Ma'am,
For oxygen.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm not arguing.
You knew about this. You knew about this for a long time now. You had court dates about this. They served a 7-day notice. They served their complaint. We had a couple of court dates. You didn't show up on the 2nd. You knew you got the judgment saying to be out by the 12th. There's nothing more I'm going to do. I'm sorry. I really am. Good luck. People against Megan Sue Young Aikinen.